Today, I want to talk about the gifts of our shadow, turning that pain into purpose, transforming the wounds into wisdom, and reclaiming the power of those painful experiences. I know it doesn't seem like it, but that shadow can reveal your deepest desires, hidden desires that are parts of you that you've denied. I know for me, there was a long time when I didn't feel that I was able to express my creativity, that I wasn't able to speak up, to speak up my truth, to be able to tell people what I really felt. I'm sure you can hear him. GC making all this noise. So having that inability to, and it wasn't an inability, it was moreover that the relationship that I was in didn't help me feel comfortable, didn't help me feel that I could express myself in a positive way, that I could express my creativity. I would have paintings and art supplies all over the place. And when somebody doesn't like that or feels that it's too much or that I'm making a mess, it's difficult to feel that it's all right, to be able to express that part of you. So maybe that you're with a person that doesn't allow you to speak your truth. They make you feel uncomfortable, or they fight with you all the time because your opinion is different than theirs. When you're at work, it may be that you're not allowed to express the creative ideas that you have that may improve the business because the company you work for doesn't allow that. These are desires that are within you that aren't being fulfilled. That shadow work helps to clarify the parts of you that truly fulfill you. Those desires suppressed out of fear or shame can become sources of power. Healing is almost seen as an act of rebellion, as you're challenging those societal narratives around shame and unworthiness and vulnerability. I remember reading a book by Brené Brown and realizing that being vulnerable is not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be afraid of. It's something that we really need more of in the world. We need to be able to be comfortable sharing our soft spots, pieces of ourselves that we've suppressed because we need to be tough, because we need to be strong, because we need to be able to take care of everybody else and not necessarily show what's going on with us. And that can be difficult. That can be challenging in being able to feel complete and whole. So it allows you to reclaim that control over your story. And we're all about reclaiming our story. We're all about rewriting our truth so that we can be more of ourselves in the world. So some of the hidden lessons can be found in those past failures and those past fears. And, sorry, let me put him down. Oh, you're caught. Every failure holds some version or some lesson about resilience and strength. It often signals areas where growth is needed most. Pain can become a purpose when it's reframed as part of your transformation. When it's shifted in your mind to think that, okay, this experience that I went through is not something that's going to tear me down. It's actually going to be something that builds you up. For me, of course, I've talked about two pivotal experiences in my life, one getting divorced and the second when Roy got sick. These are 2 points of my life that, although I've had other parts of my life that have been a lot more what would be considered traumatic, I don't see them as that. These 2 points are points in my life that I've used to be able to reframe my story to make me more powerful, to make me stronger, to make me more resilient, and truthfully say to myself, I can get through anything. If I can make it through these things, I can make it through anything. When you change that narrative in your head to something that's more positive, that's more empowering, that lifts you up, strengthens you, and gives you the authority in yourself to say, yes, you know what? I may be able to, I may be in a tough time right now. I may struggle. I may fight and feel that the world is against me, but I've done these things in the past that I've succeeded at. You can't find those pieces if you're not allowing yourself to do the shadow work. If you aren't willing to look at those parts of you, then how can you turn those weaknesses into strengths? How can you realize that they're disguised, that they're untapped strengths or creativity? Reframing those challenges empowers you to take action, empowers you to change that story so that moving forward, things will go a lot better. Embracing your imperfections, that's part of your unique power. So, how can your journey inspire others? I know for me, sharing my journey and sharing my divorce and sharing my challenge with Roy having cancer, these are things that kind of allow other people to see that that shit happens to everybody. It doesn't just happen to certain people. We've got to normalize the messiness, and sharing your story allows for you to realize that that transformation is not just a one in a million kind of thing. Anybody can do it. You can do it. You can change that narrative in you if you're willing to do the work. It's not easy. Your ability to look at your shadows allows for other people around you to see that they can do the same. If you can change your story, then those around you can change their stories. They can see what's possible. They can see that this person has gone through all of these different things, this XYZ, and they've made it through the other side. If they can do it, I can do it. It creates that ripple effect of hope and growth and expansion, a positive light in the world. And why not be that light in the world? Why not you? Why not? It's just a matter of choosing that you want to change that story that you've got rolling around in your head. That's all it takes. So some action steps that I want to share with you. One is identifying that past painful experience and write about its hidden lessons. I've told you I love journaling. So obviously, especially around my divorce, I really did this because for the longest time, I couldn't see what was positive, what was a good thing that I gained from that. Now, I never looked at it as, a horrible time. This is the worst time of my life. It's wasted all of this time. No, I always knew that there was something to gain from that experience besides my 2 kids, but just from the relationship. If I hadn't figured out and taken the time to look at that, then I would have never been able to achieve the things that I've achieved. So the second thing is choose one perceived weakness and brainstorm how it could be a strength. Now, for me, one thing that I've always thought of as a weakness was that I have this way of being able to see what's needed in a situation. It may be somebody struggling with something and I've got a solution. I've got some insight that I can share with them. The problem is that a lot of times in the past, I would share those insights uninvited. Having learned about being a projector, an orchestrator with quantum human design, and studying that more, I've come to learn that I may have all this great wisdom. I may have all this amazing insights and all these brilliant solutions for these different problems. But if the person just wants to talk, because they need a sounding board, but they don't need advice. I have to realize that I can't just blurt out whatever comes to mind. And I've done that a lot in the past. Taking that perceived weakness of mine and realizing that it's a strength, and that only the people who really resonate with what I say are going to take that and do something with it. And then the rest are not, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Reframing what I perceived as a weakness into a strength has made me realize that that's actually a good thing because I don't have to be concerned with whether somebody wants this advice, is going to use this advice and move forward. That's on them. If they do, that's great. If not, no harm, no foul. No harm, no foul. So it's perfectly fine. The third thing is practicing self-forgiveness for a past mistake. I'm going to be honest, this one I really struggled with. I would beat myself up for not working harder on making my marriage succeed, not working harder to, make sure that my kids came with me when I moved out of state. All of these things around my divorce that I had beat myself up about, that I really had to work on forgiving myself for feeling that I was being selfish for changing my life. Because honestly, if I'd stayed where I was, I would have made everyone around me miserable. So how is that a benefit? How is that encourage other people to grow? It doesn't. So forgiving myself for making that big leap and changing my life was not selfish. It was selfish in a way that it was more based on my needs. But because I was focused on my needs, it actually created this rolling effect of everyone around me benefiting. My kids are so much better. Actually, both my kids are up here now. My ex-husband has gotten remarried. He's happy. So these are all these things that would never have happened that did because I made that decision. I made that choice, but I didn't forgive myself for that for a very long time. Using EFT tapping to release those lingering emotions tied to that shadow was transformational. I can't even express to you how much EFT helped. It's such a cathartic method. You can literally feel the shit just shifting in your body when you're doing EFT. And it was funny because the method that I used of EFT incorporated what a friend of mine had learned about when those feelings come up, to express them and just kind of make noise and scream and, yell into a pillow, whatever it is necessary, but to actually express those feelings that come out. So I would be up in the bedroom and Roy would be downstairs in the office and I would be doing my EFT and tapping. And there was a lot of times when I would be crying and like screaming, and I would scream on here, but it would just be too loud. Really just letting that emotion and that sound to be expressed. Because here's the thing, that sound is the feeling and that caught emotion that needs to be released. When you cough, when you sneeze, when you cry in the middle of your EFT tapping, that's all that energy being released. A lot of times when I first started doing it, I thought I got to hold that in. I would have a coughing fit and I would feel like I needed to hold that in. When I talked to my mentor, she said, no, that's your body trying to release that stuff. You need to let that out. Your lungs have not been allowed to release for such a long time. And my asthma has improved dramatically because of that. So I know that when I start feeling like I can't breathe, it's one of two things. Either I'm dehydrated, thank you very much, or I'm upset about something and I'm not expressing it. And I'm holding in that feeling, or that I'm holding in that emotion of sadness, of wanting to cry. I still struggle with it, and it's a work in progress. So, I just keep working on it. The fifth thing is sharing your story of transformation in a safe space. I've created the school community for that. Soulfire Reignited School Community is that place where we can share stories, we can share transformation, we can share areas where we're concerned, where we need to vent and just let that stuff out. And there's a safe space that we can talk about these things. Now, obviously, it's going to have other things on there, but that's the basis of that community. So I'll share the link down below. And if you want to come join, then come join. It's going to be free for a while. I want to build that community and have some founders coming in. I'm all proud. Brand new thing. I've got one member. Woohoo! Thank you. Love you, Essence. That's what I want to have. I want to have this place where we can go and share these things that we're going through. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want it to just be a bitch session. It's going to be someplace where we can work with each other and we can say, hey, this is what I've tried. This is what I've tried. Let's try this. Suggestions. And a place where we can talk about this stuff because we don't talk about it enough. So the shadow work prompts for today, I'll add them to the description as well. So the first one, number one, is what is one wound I carry that I feel defines me? What's one wound I carry that I feel defines me? The second one is, what would my life look like if I released shame tied to this wound? What would my life look like if I released shame tied to this wound? Number three, how has my pain shaped the person I am today? How has my pain shaped the person I am today? Number four, how can I honor the journey that brought me to this moment? How can I honor the journey that brought me to this moment? Number five, what does it mean to me to turn pain into purpose? What does it mean to me to turn pain into purpose? I know that these shadow work prompts may sometimes trigger different areas in you that you really don't want to look at. Honestly, if it's triggering something in you, that means it's something that you need to look at. It may not always be easy. If you need a therapist, somebody to talk to, then by all means do that. Find somebody that you can talk to. But don't continue to push these things aside, to push this pain and this part of you aside, because it will come out in another form. If we can work through those things, then you'll become more of who you're meant to be. You'll be able to change that story and rewrite it the way that you want. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about becoming whole. We're going to integrate all of this stuff and reignite that soul fire in you. All right? If you find this resonates with you, please give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and subscribe. And other than that, remember, live life adventurously. It's the only way to live. Have a great day. Bye.